Welcome back everyone to another episode of our Geospatial Python series. In this episode, we will look at how to create plots with GeoPandas. And so let us get started. Before I proceed, this is now the structure of the project or the series. We have moved from the vector geoprocessing to the vector geovisualization, but the file naming, I chose to continue with the one from the vector geoprocessing. But the folder structure is the same, so you can see that there is a data folder, and then there's this arrow.png which we use to insert a not arrow. And if there is any output, we'll put it in the 03 output also. Access to the repository is in the description. You can always click on it and check it out. I'll first import GeoPandas, not this one, GeoPandas as GPD. And then I'll load the world shapefile, the world dataset. So load world dataset. I'll call it GDF. That should be equal to gpd.read file, not GPS, gpd.read file. And here I want to get gpd.datasets .get underscore path, and we want to get the natural earth low resolution data, natural earth as one word, and then low resolution. If I inspect this geodata frame, I should see the world here like this. And then from what we have been doing previously, you know that you can easily call the dot plot on it and it will show you this plot. So this is what we will be doing today. This is a basic plotting, but we will not be doing it this way today, the plotting, even though this method also works. So let me run this cell again, give a markdown here for basic plotting. And then I will import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. And then I'll declare my figure, then the axis. And this is plt.subplot. We will not give rows and columns for now because it's just a single plot that we will be doing here. But I want to give a figure size of, say, 10 by 6. And then now I'll plot my data on the axis of this particular figure. You can take it that way. So it is like this will allow us to be able to also plot multiple layers, because you have a figure and you can have many things on it, like stacked one upon the other. So I can say gdf.plot like we did at first, but now we will specify the axis where I should plot it to, and that's the same as AX. If I call, I think it should show without explicitly calling plt.show. Yes, it does. But I still want to call plt.show. That one too will still show it anyway. Okay, but I think we saw a slight difference there. If I comment this one out, it's print the axis also, and then this one doesn't show that output. So now this is the world shapefile. But what I want to do is to not plot the entire world. So I want to make a selection of only the countries in West Africa. You can choose any place in the world, or this one can even be your own data set. So what I'll be doing going forward is to subset this entire data set to get only that of West Africa. So I will come here, this one will remain the same. And then what we can do is to declare. So I got the list of all West African countries. And then I'll use that list as a subset. Let me copy it from my notes. The goal is not for you to watch me type. So this is the West African countries. And so once we have this like that, we can subset the entire geodata frame to get only that of West Africa. That will be WA_GDF for short, WA for West Africa. And that is GDF. And then you saw that there was a name column. That is what contains the countries. Even VS Code is bringing it up. So we can say name.sin, and then we can pass in the West Africa list here. I don't think we have used the sin for our subsetting. So I think it's a new addition to previous knowledge. And then now I can visualize the West Africa GDF. Oh, no. Let me come here and plot it rather. So that will be WA_GDF. And then now it's something smaller that I can show a lot of the things that I want to show. All right. But what I want to do is to, let me give comments here. So that will be filter for West African countries. But for better visualization, I want to convert this, which is in WGS84, to a Mercator CRS for better visualization. You can skip that part, it's optional. So convert to Mercator CRS for better visualization. And so what I'll do is WA_GDF equal to WA_GDF.to CRS. And the Mercator CRS I'm using is EPSG, EPSG, that is the 3857, and this should give us better visualization. So if I run this cell, and I come to run this, maybe not a lot have changed. Something has changed. If you looked at it, the axis, the labels have changed, because now these are in, this is 3.0 times 10 exponent 6. So it has changed from the lat long now to eastings and northings, or XY, depending on the coordinate system you are using, the projected coordinate system you are using. So now we have the coordinates in that format, and I think I like it that way. If you want it in lat long, you can leave the conversion out. So now we can have a basic plot like this. Let's see if we want to customize the colors and the styles. I'll collapse this output, and then for the next session, let me see the header, second header. For the next session, we look at how to customize colors and styles. And for this particular section, the first one we look at is how to customize the colors. So if you want to give custom colors to the map, you see this one. A default color was chosen for us by GeoPandas, but we don't want that particular color. We want our own color. If that is the case, Then what we can do is wagdf.plot, and then I can say the color. That will specify the color. You can put in the hex value, or I can also, for common colors, I can put in the literal text like this. So for example, light blue. If I do it that way and I plot, you see that now I have a light blue map. This figure size, maybe I should declare it as a variable or just be copying it over. Now I have a light blue color, but you see that it's almost not noticeable, the differences or the boundaries. I can specify an edge color, which is the color of the boundary. And if I say that should be maybe black so that you see it well. Now this gives us this particular map. If you think it is too much, maybe this place should be gray. Then I think this is better. So you can change the color and also the edge color. There are a lot of things that we can pass into this plot property. For instance, if the line width is also too much for me, I can specify a line width. And then let me just put that one at 0.5. And then the boundaries width is not that thick as before. Okay, so if you want custom colors, that is how you can do that. And if you want to also change the line width too, that is how you can do it. For now, let us move on to how to also color the map by attribute. So we've seen how to give a color to all of it at once. But in case you want to color it by a particular attribute, you can do that. So that should be coloring by attribute. This is a second, it's even a third level one. If I call the WA_GDF, you see that as part of our attribute, we have population estimate. So we can use that one, or the GDP estimate also for this particular visualization. So I'll call the dot plot and I'll pass in my figure size first. And then if you want to give them different colors, what you do is to specify a column in here in the plot. And for the column, I want to choose first the population estimate, POP-EST. And when I run it, what will happen is that GeoPandas will once again choose a default color ramp for me, and it will try to use it to color the various features. But I can override that with a C map, and here I can choose the orange to red. And it looks like I don't really see it. So what I can do, from the previous one, is I can give an edge color of, say, let me choose gray here and see. And the line width is too much for me, so I can give a line width of, say, 0.4. Okay, now let me break these ones down to multiple lines. I have it this way. If you are wondering how I know the color map, if you want to know the options you can pass into this color map, one of the trick I use is to just type in something that I know is not a color map, like ABCD. I'll have an error. But when the error comes, when I go to the value error side, you see that ABCD is not a valid value for CMAP. And then the system itself will give you all the supported values. So you can look through them and try the ones that you think is best for you. So all of them are listed here. So I've been using it. That's why I know that there's one called orange to red. I also like one called spectral. I think it's a capital S. And I will not like the spectral for this kind of things. So let me go back to my orange, red. So in that case, the ones which have a lower value will be orange and the higher values will be red. But it will be cool if we know what these colors represent. Does it mean that this country here with the what is very close to red is the smallest, or what is it even trying to say? To see that, the best thing to do is to add a legend. So we can pass in a legend here and set the legend to be true. When the legend is true, now we will have a legend. Because of the way I've zoomed into my PC, so that you can see without having to put a lot of pressure on your eyes. The plot may not show at once, but you can see that we have the color ramp here. Now we know that this is the highest value, and then the lighter colors represent the lower values. Okay, so now we have also been able to color our map by a particular attribute. Now, what if we want to also add a grid? That one is also quite simple. Adding a grid. You can see this is showing you the things that you can, the various ways you can make your plots. We are not really building we are not really getting towards a final product, like a final map. That will come in another episode where we build like an entire map. We dedicate the whole tutorial to build a map with everything on it. But this one is to show you how to add your map elements and how to go about customizing it to make it nice. Now, if you want to add a grid to a map, it is also quite simple. Once again, for this one, I would like to put it in a figure axis, and then this is plt.subplot. Let me paste the same figure size again, and then now wagdf.plot. Maybe I should copy this one. I like this one a lot. So wagdf.plot, and then all these attributes in there, so that it will be like we are building upon the other one. Okay. But this one we have to specify the axis. So ax equal to ax. Let me call plt.show. And we have it. Nothing so different from the first one. But if you want to add a grid, we add it to the axis. So all you have to do is say, let me give a comment here, adding the grid. So it will be ax.grid. And then you set it to true. Once we do that, you see that our map now has a grid. We can go ahead and customize this grid by adding in other things. For instance, if you want the line style to change, line style, you can put these dashed lines here, and that will give you the dashed grid if you want it that way. Let me see, a single line, that is the default. For this one, I don't really know the options that it takes. I've not explored that part well. Just simply because in most cases, either I use these single lines with a very faint, or I use the double lines. I don't really know whether there are other options to add in a grid apart from these two lines. Apart from the fact that you can have intersection ticks, if it is a grid, I don't really know whether there's another type of line. And if you think the grid is too opaque, we can reduce the opacity with the alpha option. So alpha also set to 0.5 means that it's only 50% transparent. You can choose to reduce it to fit your need. Now you see that it's barely noticeable, just it's still there, but it is not the feature that catches the most attention on the map. And that is very important because it is the information that you want to show in the map that should really catch attention. In this case, the population estimate here. Okay. Our legend is, okay, we took it off, so let me bring it here. Legend to true. I want to see it, so yeah. Now, you can customize the tick intervals. If you want to do that, let me see. Customizing the grade intervals. That is ax.set x for the x. And then here you can pass in a range. But in that case, you have to know the range of your x column and the range of your y column. I think for our x, we are somewhere the -2 times 10 to the power exponent 6 to maybe this place is also 2, something like that. So let's see. That is a range from -2 exponent 6 and then to let's put it at 2 exponent 6 also. And then the interval we want, what is the current one? I think it is 0.5. So how does that one go in? Maybe you can say 0.5 exponent 6. And then we can set that one too. So we can also set for the y text here like that. And for that, our y also, it looks like it moves from, okay, that one is only positive from 0.5 to 3.0. So 0.5 to 3.0, so that's 3. And the interval, let's keep it at a 5 also to just make it consistent. And then we have an error. Float cannot be interpreted as integer. So looking for an integer. So I think when we move the 0 back by 1, this should be 5. And then, am I getting this correct? Let me see. This is 5. And this is also 5. Maybe. It's still saying there's a float. Oh, okay. 2 to the power 5. Which part of this is a float? Let me see something here. So in a code cell, if I choose to print 2 exponent 6, what will I get? Okay, the output of this is a float, so we can pass it in as int for all of them. Okay, so after doing it, you see that we have our grids, but it looks like there's a very big space at the top of the y side, and that is all have to do. That it all has to do with the range. And so let me see. So you kind of have to tweak the values around to get what you are looking for. For the bottom side, I think we are okay, but for the top, so the y range, maybe I should push it up to, where is it? Up to 3.5. So since it doesn't take okay, I can put in the decimal here because I'm converting it to float. So that shouldn't be integer, so that shouldn't be a problem. So when I did that, you see that now I have an extra line here, making my grid so beautiful like that. So in case you want to modify the grid intervals too, that is how you do it. In that case, you have to know your range. So for the range, this is the lower limit, the upper limit, and the interval you want. So if I change this to 1, I'm expecting to get so many grids on this thing. And yes, of course, you see that I have plenty grids here on this thing, and it's not nice. So that is your grid interval, and then these are the minimum, maximum. Let me bring it back to the 5. I liked it that way. But yours will depend on your use case. If you're also doing West Africa like me, let's keep it at 5. Now we've known how to add a grid, and then the next thing we want to talk about is a legend, which we have really already done it. Yes, we already know how to add a legend. So maybe this time around, some keywords, legend keywords, some of the things or customizations we can give to a legend. Maybe that. So this one is adding a legend. What I'll do is to copy this code here, all of it, and then paste it down there. We are just customizing the legend. It's already added, so we'll customize it. So now we have this output. Inside the plot, after legend is true, we can add what we call the legend keywords, and then it's a dictionary. We can add a title to the legend if you want to. So title. And we can say, what are we even visualizing? I think it's the population estimate. So we can put here pop estimate. And then when we run, there's a problem. This is correct. So why is it saying that it doesn't know it? Okay, let me try another parameter and see. So location, if I put a location to lower, or let me just put that right. It's already at the right, so let me change it to the left and see. Okay, it looks like we are not doing something right. Okay, so if we want to add these keywords like this, we have to change the code a little bit. What we have to do is to now make this one maybe a variable, something like that, and then let the plt.show take care of that. And so what I'll do is to say WA plot or something like that. That should be equal to this, and I think that should fix this for us, and it still did not fix it. Okay, I found the fix. It looks like the title key has maybe changed since the last time I used it, so it's rather label that works. And when I give a label, you see that it says pop estimates, or given the nature, we can actually type it in full. Population estimate. There are other things that we can do to the legend also. Remember, I was trying to put it at a particular location. So that one too can be done. Location, and then I can say something like lower left. Let's see. Okay, maybe that one too is not in yet. I don't know why it is behaving so. I used this one not long ago, and all these keywords were working. Another one, maybe this will work at your end, I don't know, but another one is the orientation. And currently it is vertical. I can say it should be horizontal. And I'll have a horizontal legend like this. But you see that the size is also just too big. So what I can do is to shrink it a bit, and that is with a shrink key. And then here I put a value that is between, say, greater than 0 and up to 1. So if I put something like 0.6 here, it will shrink it to that size. Now I see that my legend has shrunk down. Kind of affected my figure size. That is not what I wanted to do. But if I, let's say 0.7, okay, so we can play around with that particular value to get it to shrink down to the size you want. Let me increase this and see whether this thing decreases with the map or with my canvas size. Okay, so now that I have a bigger map, let me see. Looks like my height is just too much, so let me bring this one to say 16. The legend is still far away. 14. Okay, I'll leave it like this, not just to try and get numbers that will lengthen the video. But you can see that we have now been able to put it to the bottom here with orientation. If you think you want to change the font size too, you can change it with a font size. But this particular legend font size will not really show us stuff. But if you have a legend that should show like the country names, then that one you'll be able to appreciate the font size more. And it's also saying that the font size is not recognized. Okay. It works. Maybe this is a new version that they've changed stuff that I've not referenced from the document. I don't know. But I have another environment now on my PC that will run this, and then we'll show all of these things that are saying that this doesn't work. So in case it does work on your side, fine. If it doesn't work, you can check the matplotlib documentation and see all the new other additions that have been done, especially in relation to these particular things. Okay. This is also how you can customize your legend, and but once again, it's this particular bar, color bars, you will not really like to customize it. Like if it is a legend that should show like the country names, that one you can add a bounding box, some shadow, rounded corners and stuff. But for this one, I think that's why we can go. You can check the matplotlib documentation for this legend keywords. You find all of those ones that you can add there. Let me see. If I come to matplotlib, the search bar should be somewhere. Yep. And if I paste in the legend keywords, or just the legend. And let me come here. So now it is labeled, and then the location is here like this, but I don't know why it is not working from that side. And you can change the font size here also. I don't know why it's not working from that side. And maybe because of the type of legend, I don't know. And these are all the stuff that you can pass in. The legend takes all of these. So you can try them now and see. Let me see. This is for the location code. And okay, it's just trying to explain the... I wanted to see if I can get the legend keywords like the dictionary, but if you pass any of these things in the dictionary, you should be able to take it, because that is the things that the legend can take. So if you are using a legend that is different from a color bar, you can try this once and see. I think all of them should work. Now the next thing is to add a scale bar to our plot. So what I'll do is to grab all of this and then copy it, and then here we can add a scale bar. For that, I'm sure you have that library installed, but if you check my requirement.txt, there's this new file I've added called the matplotlib scale bar. So if you clone the repository, when the series started, if you are following it and you've cloned it before this video, then you have to check this part again, pull the changes, and then make sure that you have those packages installed as well. So that one is called the matplotlib scale bar. So what we can do now is to, at the top here, import, or should be from matplotlib scale bar, import, okay, dot scale bar import, and then you have the scale bar. So this is what will help us to add the scale. And then if you want to add a scale bar to the plot, all you have to do is to, so this is the scale bar, is to define the item. We call it scale bar in this scenario, and then that will be a scale bar. And then the DX unit, you can pass in one, and here this one is considered as an artist. And so what we want to do is to say artist dot add artist, and then we add the scale bar. And now it's okay, it's metric, that's why it's kilometers, because it's a large area. Now this is our scale bar at the top here. If you come to their documentation on PyPI, so matplotlib scale bar, this one, if you scroll down just a bit, you see the cheat sheet. If you click on it, it should take you to their cheat sheet. So if you want your scale bar, I think this is the default. It puts it at this place, location upper right. But if you want it in this way, you see the various forms in which it can appear. Then you can select it. So for instance, if you select this particular one, this is the code for it. If you want it at the lower right, this is the code for it. So let me copy this side. and then come in here, paste it, and then now this one should bring it at the bottom here like this for me. Okay. This is I'm beginning maybe not really understanding this thing. This is Let me come to the documentation, the actual documentation. And let me get so the DX. So we also pass in the units. But how come the units is in here, which I'm sure is for millimeters, and then this is given in meters, and the dimension and all those ones. Let me see. So the set DX to 1 if the axis image has already been calibrated by setting its extent. Okay. So you can go through this one to customize it and all. We will not do all of this in this particular tutorial, but let me put M here and see what the output will be. So now it's showing kilometers. Okay, I really don't get what this thing is doing. I will have to go to the documentation and then read it well. But all of them is here if you want to read it also. I think that should be the unit. Default is meters, so I'll keep it that way. So that is also how to add a scale bar to your plot if you want to. And the next one is how we can add a not arrow. For that one, what I recommend is that there's a package that can let you do that, but if you really want to customize it, then what I recommend is to get an image like I have done. So this particular image here that I'm using, this is the source. So I got it from flat icon, and this is the link to the image. And as I showed you in the beginning of the video, it's inside data arrow.png. So what I'll do is to copy relative path. And then here I might need to make a few other imports. So import matplotlib.image as maybe mpimg for matplotlib image, and then maybe from matplotlib.offset box we also want to import offset image, and then the annotation box. So let me, I think I copied something, this one. So let me paste the link here for now. Let me come back and copy our progress thus far and then paste it down. So the not arrow image, that should be equal to, did we import OS at the top? No, so I need OS here. You know that I like to use OS for that, so that in case you clone the repository and you run it, you shouldn't have a problem. So that'll be os.path.join. We want to join the current working directory with data, and then this. So we want to join os.getCWD. data, and then the folder is 03 data, so 03 underscore data, and then the file its name is, I think it's not let me see, arrow.png. So arrow.png. So this should give us the file. So it's in two steps. First, we will convert the image to an image offset, and then we will use the annotation box to position it at the top left or the top right, wherever you want it. So convert north arrow image to an offset image. I can say the image, do we have anything there called image? No. So the image equal to offset image, and then this one we pass in the north arrow image, and then there's a zoom component that is what is used to adjust the size of the arrow of the image. So let me put it at 1.0 for now. Then we will adjust it as appropriate. Then we can use annotation box to position the image. So use annotation box to position the image. So that one we can call it maybe AB for annotation box. That should be annotation box, bounding box, sorry. And then we pass in the image offset we've created. The XY for this is where we declare the coordinates. So you don't know which one will work, so let's just put maybe 1,1 here. We will adjust it as appropriate. And then we don't want the frame, so we say the frame on as false so that there will be no frame. So it is best to use a PNG so that the background will also be transparent. Now that we have created this annotation bounding box, is an artist, so we can add the north arrow to the plot. So add north arrow to the plot. That will be axis.add artist, and then here it will be the AB artist. If I run this thing now, something is happening. Cannot convert data type to float. Where is this thing happening exactly? So our north arrow image. I hope you are getting that one correct. Let me cut this, then bring it to where the north arrow stuff are. Is it because of the zoom? Let me take it off and see. It says offset image. Okay, it was not because of the zoom. There's a very important step that we missed, and that is we imported this matplotlib image there, but we didn't use it. We are supposed to use that one to read the image. So I can say here as north underscore arrow, that should be equal to, we named it mpimg.imread. So it's read the image in a format that matplotlib will understand. Then I can pass in the north arrow image, and then in here, instead of the north arrow image, I pass in the north arrow, and the error should be gone. Now we are supposed to be seeing it somewhere. Maybe let's adjust the zoom to 0.5, Okay, this legend, the extra keywords of this legend, apart from the label, I don't want the orientation to be horizontal. And let me shrink it way down and see something. Okay, so I'm still not seeing our north arrow. Maybe it also has something to do with our coordinates. Let's try 0.5, 0.5. Okay. And so if it is still not shown, we can let it determine the xy from the axis itself. So if I pass in xy chords, that is different from the xy. Then this one, I can see something like the axis fraction. Let's see. And now I have my north arrow in here. So please make sure that you add this xy chords. Let me see the documentation. Single or tuple. The coordinate system that xy is given in. So if we set that one to be, where is it? To be the axis fraction, that means that it will use the axis to position our north arrow for us. So inside our axis, you see that if we say 0.5, 0.5, this our north arrow is in roughly the middle of the axis, so that is half. And so if I change this one to maybe 1, that means that it should be at 0.1 of the x side. So that you see that is why it is now closer to the left. And then 5, which is the center. 0.5 is half, which is center, the center of the y side. And so you see that it is there. So if I bring this one to 0.1, you know that now it will position it at the close to the origin, which is 0, 0, which is down here. So that is how it is. But I want you to go to the top there. So let me put 0.9, so that in the y it should be up there. I usually put my north arrows at the top left, so that is where I want to position it. But you can see that it's still too big for the map, so that is where we can use the zoom to make the size smaller. If I make it 0.1, and it's already looking good for me, so I will leave it this way. Just that maybe I should bring it to the X part a little bit. Forgive me, I just like to make things a particular way. 0.5 should be so small. What am I doing? But okay, this is still cool for me. Very, very cool. So I will leave it this way. So now we've been able to also add a north arrow to our map. The next thing is to look at how to insert texts on a map. And so as always, let me copy this one over and insert text on the map. If I run this, it's our previous fantastic map that I'll still see. So let's say I want to put the names of the countries on it. How do I do that? Well, two things. Now we have to get the position, the where we have to place the text. You know, from this north arrow that we have to intentionally place it at a particular position inside the canvas. And so we need the position to place it. And I want to place them at the centroid. So at the center of each polygon, the name will be there. And that is also way easy to do. So adding text, which is in this case country names at also the country names. So I can iterate for the index, which I don't need. So I can put an underscore here, but let me put it there for index, which is IDX, and then row in WAGDF dot I want to iterate on the rows, and then what we can do is to say AX. So we are adding a text to the axis, so here's the text, and then we can add a particular text. So what we need to pass first is the X and Y. So in this case, for the X is, let me put them as X equal to row dot geometry dot centroid dot X, and then for the Y is to be row dot geometry dot centroid dot Y. And so I want to put a text at X comma Y, and for instance, if I just say that the text is, let me specify them. So X equal to X, Y equal to Y, and then the S, which is the text that we should put there, the string. If I put something like hello, and I missed a comma here, if I run this now, you see that I have hello at the center of each of the countries. So that is how I put text in there. But of course, this will not, we don't want to put hello. We want to put the row dot name. That's the name of the country. Is it row dot name? I'm seeing some figures here. Let me call the WAGDF and see. So there should be a code cell. WAGDF is not a name. Yeah, it's the name field that contains this. So why is it not showing? Or I should say row and then name. Maybe that will work. Okay, so I couldn't use the dot notation here like for the centroid, but this does work. Now we can customize this text also if we want. So I can put the XY, this one's on separate columns. The default color is black, and I think I like it that way. And if I want to, for instance, rotate the text, I can pass in rotation and then set the value to maybe 60. And let me see that my text is now rotated. I can also change the font size. So if I come with a font size of say 6 maybe. Now I have them smaller, but you can see that the XY is where the first text starts. But if you want to push the text such that the center of the text aligns with the centroid of the figure or the geometry, then you have to play around this value small. And that means you have to get the size and the length of the text to be able to do that. But if I should randomly put maybe 0 point, maybe -1, x -1, y -1, this one will really change a thing. Not so much because this is in the projected coordinate system. So if I make this one 1000, let me be brave and see something. Okay, it looks like it did work, but not really. So if you want to change the position, you can do it that way. But I don't think the rotation is even helping me. So I'll maintain the horizontal angle. But I'm just showing you, if you want to do something like that, it is still there. And then y equal to y. I want it this way. I think this, for the purpose of the map, shows really well. But you can see that for Nigeria, because it is dark, the black is not really showing. So in cases like this, we may get around it with a bounding box. If I define a bounding box for the text, now I can see that the face color for the bounding box, which will be the color of the text, should be, let's choose white. You can choose any color that you want. And then for the edge color, that is the color for the edges. And that one to, let me make it gray. Sorry, the face color is not the color of the text, the color of the box. So now you can see that the text itself is black. We defined it up there. Sorry, that was an oversight. The face color for the B box is the color of the box. And the text, you see that for each of the box there is a bounding, an edge, or what you call the border, that also shows that this is a box. So in that case, if you have something that you have to label that is really not showing well, you can put it in a bounding box and then get it done like this. So that, my friends, is also how we add the text to our map. The next one is to know how to put multiple maps on a figure, or like on a single figure. So what I'll do here is multiple maps on a single figure. And I will copy our thing over and then paste it. But this time around, we have to do a lot of modifications. For instance, or the first one is our figure size. Before the figure size, you have to pass the number of rows and columns. You can see them here, n rows and then n columns. So I want you to get 1 row and 2 columns, because I'm going to put 2 plots on it. If you are putting 4 plots, you know that you need 2 rows and 2 columns. So you can use that to know the number of plots you need. And the next one is to, so this is a West Africa plot. We may want to rename this to maybe we can actually leave it. And then for this one, we want to plot it at the axis 0. And then for the second plot, which will be, we still have to rename it. So this one is WA plot for population estimate. So maybe POP EST. And then I'll copy it. So let me give, so this is the second plot. I'll paste it. Let me collapse this one. This is our first plot. And this will be, I think, apart from that, we have another row. So we have another, this GDP estimate. You can use that one. And so let me count the second plot, expand this. And then the column here will be this. And then let me name this one GDP estimate. And then here the axis will be 1. And I think that should be it for it to work. let me see. Okay, so in that case, we cannot really set the axis of the whole thing like that. So we can set the axis 0, and in everything that we do here, we have to do it for both of them. So that will mean that I'll have to intentionally put 0 here. Come here, intentionally also put 0. And then repeat that for all of them. Where do we have this again? And then this. So you will see that it will only do that labeling for the first map, because that's where we wanted the things to be. If you want it for both, then you have to do it for the second one also. So what we can do first, I think there is a method that we can use to share the axis. Let me see if it's in the subplots. Share X and share Y, yes. If we pass that to be true, I think we don't need to do that what we're doing. So share X, that to be true. Share Y, also to be true. And if those ones are set to true, I don't think I need the axis customization that much. Okay, it is still working like that. Let me get rid of this, just the grid, and see. Okay. Or instead of doing it for the axis, why not do it, or we should do it for the figure rather. Let me see the figure, and then figure. Okay, so this one too appears that it will not work. So I think for now we will have to do it for all of them. There should be a better way to do that. If you know that, I will really appreciate it in the comments. I've done something like that before, where I shared the X and Y among the subplots. So I don't know why now it is not working like this. Okay, so whatever that it is we want to do, we will have to do it for both of them. So what I'll do now is to select all of these things. For the not arrow, I'll leave it for them, the Scalebar too for them, but I will not be setting the custom grid. I think they all need it. So let's go through the pain of passing 0 here, and then repeating it for all the places that we have to put it. This font size should be 3, and then run. This is quite small. Let me take the bounding box off the text. And it's still even not noticeable. 5. Okay. Looks like the scale bar. There's something like the size. And for this interval too, I think I have to increase it. Let me come to the top. Where is it that we are? Maybe from 5 to 10. Let's run to from 5 to 10. And let me see. Okay, this is better for me. And the north arrow also should be smaller. Where is the north arrow? Where we specify the zoom 0.05. And that is also better for me. And for the legend also, let me shrink it way down for the first plot. Maybe 0.1. Or let me make it 0.2. The 0.1 seems to be so small. 0.2. Okay, this is better. So now we can bring the details here onto the second one easily, because we already know the things that we are supposed to put in there. So for instance, we know that this second plot, the legend should be 0.2, should shrink by 0.2. And then we also know that we can duplicate this line and then make it this one AX1, and we can also duplicate this line, make it AX1, and then this scale bar also, we just duplicate this one, change this to 1, and I think there's one last thing, this one too, we duplicate it, and this is 0. And we can copy this, can copy this and do the same also for the AX1. Why is this saying that I cannot reset? You are probably trying to reuse an artist more than one in the axis, which is not supported. So what it is saying is that we have to create new ones. Wow. This is AB2. So I'll add AB2 here. And for the scale bar also, where is it? So scale bar 2. And let me add scale bar 2 here, hoping that there is no error this time around. Yes, there is no error this time around. And so this is the place where the legend font size can come in, because it looks like it's too big. Where is that one? The font size of 5. If it works for the second plot, we duplicate for the first. Where is it? Okay, it is not working. Let me bring it here as a keyword and see. Okay, so it is still not working. It looks like the same problem I had in the beginning is chasing me here too. But for you, it might work. So glad if that works for you. What did I do wrong again? So the keyword, the font size is still there somewhere. Okay, so this is the idea. This is how to put the title the multiple plots on one. So since I mentioned title, if I want to add individual titles, so this one is set plot 1 title. So that will be AX, you know that's AX0 dot set underscore title. And then I can see that is I think that is the population estimate. If I run this now, I have population estimate here, so I can duplicate this line for the second plot also. And then this is GDP estimate, like that. But if I wanted to give a big title to the plot, I can say ax.supertitle. I think is it figure dot supertitle? Yes. And then I can say maybe map of West Africa. And now you have to modify the figure size and stuff to make this thing fit. One of the things to do is to plt dot tight layout. That's the arrangement and some of those stuff for you, but sometimes you still have to modify those things. So I'll take it off and give the titles to the individual plots. So now we also know how to put multiple maps on one figure if we want to do that. Maybe to make this, let me change the color code for the second map to, there's one called winter. I'll pick it that way, just to make them look different. For you can go through and pick a proper one. The next thing on our list is how to plot map on multiple layers. So that is overlaying multiple layers. What I'll do is to go and grab this one and then paste it in again. And I'll also call the cities shapefile from GeoPandas and then now plot the cities on top of the countries. So I'll say cities path equal to gpd.datasets.get_path, and that is natural earth underscore cities. And so I can say cities equal to gpd.read_file, and then I pass in the cities path. And because I want to subset the West African cities, now I can say wa_cities equal to cities.clip, and then the mask is wa_gdf. And so once I have the WA plot like this, I can come down here and say adding the cities layer, and that will be cities, no, WA cities, that's what we want. WA cities dot plot, and then we specify the axis to be the WA plot. So WA plot, and that's it. I think we didn't check the coordinate system. We didn't check it. Yes, so I was expecting this error. We have converted the West African one to this EPSG, so let's convert that one too. That one is WA cities before the plotting. So WA_cities equal to WA cities dot to CRS, and then EPSG. What was the value? 3857. Let me collapse all of these ones. And now the error should be gone. Maybe some warnings, but where's our cities? It didn't show. We've reprojected it. What is wrong? Okay, let's just add PRG here and then PRG. Okay. Okay, I think it is happening inside the clip. Yes, it is happening inside the clip, not the. We are trying to use the clip some two geometries with different coordinate systems. So okay, I can say dot to CRS here and then pass in this one. So in that case, this one should even go, and then this one can go, and this time around it should work. Yes, so you see that the cities are on top of it, on top of the countries. You can now label the cities. You know how to do that. I will not do that in this video. I think it will make it clumsy, but if you want to, you know how to do it. You can change the color, you can do that. So what I want to do now is to where's the cities plots? Can say cities underscore plot dash equal to this, and then I can add a label, I think so, for cities so that I can call it in the legend cities. For now, nothing will happen, but if where is the legend? If I say legend is true, where is this one? Okay, it's still not showing. There's another way to do it. We can say ax.legend. No, this one. Legend. And in here, there's a particular argument we can pass in. So if I say that it should show me a legend of, what is the name of the plot? Cities plot, cities plot. I'm expecting to see a legend of that one, for that one also. Okay. We are passing in something wrong here. Where is this? Now the code is plenty. I have to scroll up and down. But it's all because I want to keep this thing nice. Or maybe I should just put in cities here. Okay, then it picked it. So I shouldn't put in the artist. I can just put in this one. And then it will work for me. Okay, that's great. So now we can show that these are the cities. And then, of course, everybody knows that this is the country. And so I can give a title to this map and then say title. ax.setTitle, and this is population estimate map of West Africa. Okay, so I think this one is also cool, and yeah, I'm still feeling some strong temptation to label the cities, but I will not do that. I think the video is already long enough, and so we can end it here. So that, my friends, is an introduction to how to do basic plotting with GeoPandas. I hope you found it useful. If you have any concerns, you can drop them in the comments. I'll come and address them as quickly as I can. And I think before we go, if you want to save this particular plot, let's make a high quality export of that and then see. So export path, that should be equal to os.path.join. I want to join the current directory with, I think I have the output folder. And then inside there, I should have 03 underscore output. But I want the name of the file to be wa underscore map dot, let's make it a PNG. And so now that I have the export part, all I can do is to say plt.savefig. And then here I can give the path, the name, which is the export path. And I want it high resolution, so I set the DPI to 300. And then I set the bounding box inches to tight. Okay, so when I run this now, it should save it for me. Set output, I have WA map, and you see my map here, neat and nice. Okay, so thank you very much for sticking around up to this point. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it to someone you think will also find it useful. So until next time, it is goodbye.